You ready to throw down some enchiladas?
I'm ready. Are you?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Not that we're really having a contest, but mine are better.
Whatever. Anyway, we are so excited that in this first filmed version of my column Potluck for Stacy's Hot Dish, we have a guest photographer.
Sherry
B from Sherry Bomb is our filming expertise tonight. And actually, if you don't know this about Sherry Hansen, she has a degree in film, but she's never been behind the camera with any of the Killer Bees filming, so I feel privileged, don't you?
Well, there's that first EPK we were trying to do.
Oh, right.
Remember?
Yeah.
Something about, I don't know, that was a disaster. So my enchiladas over the years have taken a little bit of turns, and I've done my own little twist on them to make them my own. I do a few things. I used to make my beef in a pressure cooker, which I no longer possess anymore, so now I've turned to a crock pot. I do use El Pato as a general rule, but because Michael and I are having a enchilada throwdown, if you will, I decided to put a little bit of a spin on mine. Well, I usually use a big old pot roast or something like that, but I was at the Mexican grocery store, El Rey, and the butcher said this is what I want to use. So these are beef shanks. And because, like I said, I would normally do this in a pressure cooker, I would use the brine from my olive juice in my pressure cooker, which I'm going to use some of that just to get that briny liquid, and I'm going to use my own sofrito. I usually have this frozen in the freezer in little Ziploc baggies, but I made a fresh batch for this occasion. My sofrito consists of onions, lots of garlic, red and green bell pepper, cilantro, and culantro. You must go to a Mexican grocery store and buy culantro. They look like long dandelion greens, and it's like cilantro times 10. So I'm just going to put some of this in my crock pot and mix that up in that olive brine. I don't really need to season my shanks too much because there's a lot of flavor in that sofrito. However, I am going to put some fresh cracked pepper on my shanks. I'm going to lay these in my crock pot. I'm going to just nestle them all in there. I wish you could smell how great this smells. And then I'm just going to put my El Pato in here, just enough to braise these really good. That looks like it's good. So now I have my shanks all marinated and covered really well. I'm going to put the lid of my crock pot on, and I'm going to put this on low, and I'm going to cook these overnight. Michael, take it away.
Okay, this is how I do mine, and I'm not nearly as fancy as Stacy is. What I have here on the counter is 2 medium yellow onions, and I've halved them and sliced them. I've got my same fabulous beef shanks from El Rey, and I've got my sauce that I use in mine is Las Palmas. Las Palmas is what Mrs. Teniente on the corner across the street from my mother growing up used in her enchiladas. So it's what my mother used in hers, and it's what I use in mine. In fact, if I can't get Las Palmas brand, I don't make them. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of the sliced onions and sort of line the bottom of the crock pot with it. And then I'm going to take a half bunch of fresh cilantro, and I'm going to put that over the onions. I'm going to take my great beef shanks, put them in the crock pot, squeeze them in however you can, and then I'm going to pour about half of this can of sauce right over the meat. I'm going to put the rest of the onions on top.
Nice.
And then on top...
Can't help myself, it's beautiful.
And then right on top of that onion goes the last of the cilantro. We'll get the rest of these in here. Doesn't matter if you mound it up real good because you can put the lid right on top. I'm going to put it on low, and they're going to cook all night long, and they're going to fall apart. The meat is going to come right off the bone. Perfect shredding consistency for the beef enchiladas. Oops, forgot to put the rest of the Las Palmas sauce over the onions.
It's gonna take more than Las Palmas sauce. 2, 4 hours high, 6 hours high, 8 hours low, 10 hours low. What do you feel? What do you feel? What do you feel?
10 hours low.
10 hours low? Sherry?
10 hours low.
Sherry?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, oh God. There it goes.
And incidentally, I do mine overnight in the crock pot always.
Maybe that's why mine are better.
Whatever.
This is the meat for the winning enchiladas. And albeit pretty, here's the loser. Well, we were born and raised in California. Lots of Mexicans. And enchiladas to us, they're like a brat to all of you here in the Midwest. So what we do is we use Colby cheese. Now, all those great artisanal Mexican cheeses are wonderful, and they're classic, and they're quintessential for Spanish and Mexican cooking. But we grew up using Colby or cheddar or yellow, dark, sharp cheeses, and that's what we're using today.
When I was a little kid, making enchiladas with my mom was a really big deal. It was an all-day process, and my job was to shred all of the cheese. And because it was such a putsy and messy process to make enchiladas, she would only make them 3 or 4 times a year, and she'd make a ton of them, wrap them tightly in foil, and freeze them. So as a working single mother, she could just pull them out of the freezer and put them in the oven, and dinner was easy. I have a food processor that it was actually a Christmas gift from my mother about 20 years ago. And this guy, he has been a very good, tried and true friend. All right. I'm sorry, what am I doing wrong?
I don't know, but you know how long that would take on a box grater?
Oh my God, this literally saves, I don't know, half an hour and a very sore eye. I'm shredding enough cheese for both Stacy and I, because we're both going to use the Colby for the enchiladas. And I bought 4 of these. I bought 4 of these. I don't know what this weighs about, but we're going to use 4.
They're $6 a piece.
I don't know what I was thinking. I need a much bigger container for all this cheese. The last.
Oh, God.
Whoa! Woo!
Oh, it looks like an Easter bonnet of cheese.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I could write a sonnet about your Easter bonnet. Something, something, and the Easter parade.
The only thing missing from that